Hello and welcome everyone again into another video. Today's video is the time of month where we appreciate the Master League viewers, the most generous viewers in this channel. Those people are actually the best in the channel. With all due respect to everyone, the Master League viewers are always the ones that have the highest like comment ratio on every video. So when I make a video about Master League, let's say it gets 5,000 viewers, it will get more likes and comments than like a 15,000 viewer of any other type of videos. So if you're one of those Master League viewers, I appreciate you and welcome to the top teams in the Master League in season 23. Is there any changes between this season and the previous season? Yes, there is a drastic, okay, there is a gigantic change in the current Master League meta. And that's because of two Pokemons that were newly added to the game. What are those Pokemons? We're talking about Zacian Crown and Zamazenta Crown. I don't know, one is sword, the other one is crown, okay? I know, I'm not I see that Zacian has a sword, and I see that a Zamazenta has a shield. What did those two change in the Master League? Well, those two just have gained like insane amount of stats from their new evolution. I call it evolution. I know you might not agree and call it like fusion. I think fusion is the better word to use here. But yeah, those two, like we're talking about Zacian at 5700 CP. Yeah, that's too insane. Let's be honest. Zamazenta, it's not 5700, but it's a fighter that gained a steel typing. Any steel typing is a good typing, right? Any Pokemon with a steel typing and good moveset is a good Pokemon for PvP. Now, they don't have the best fast moves in the game. They literally have Metal Claw, one of the worst in the game. But because they have insane amount of stats and insane typing, for the Zacian, it has Fairy, Steel. And Fairy and the Steel, we've learned this from like playing in the Go Back League, that this is the most insane, like this is the strongest dual typing in the entire game. Because Fairy covered the steel weaknesses, and steel covered the fairy weaknesses. Like, you're no longer weak to poison, you're no longer weak to fighter as a steel. Pretty much just covered, like as a steel fairy, you're no longer weak to steel. Okay, it's just the ground and fire. So those two usually. Fire usually is not meta, and ground is usually very meta. So you have to cover that. You have to cover that when you're building your team, and that's why you guys are here watching, so you can get some ideas about some teams. If we take a look at PvP, we see that Zacian Crown Sword is the number 1 Pokemon in the game right now. And let me just show you something. It's not just number 1. It's number 1 with 98.8 score record. You see this number? Zamazenta is 95. It is Zacian, which is 98.8. That is the highest score I've ever seen on PvP. I've never seen higher score than that. So that's how insane this Pokemon is. It just beat everything. There is nothing that this Pokemon can't beat, and the only way you could beat it is by using a hard counter Pokemon, something that is ground or fire, nothing else, just fire or ground. So those Pokemons will see some love today. Okay, so is that, as you can see, as always I divide Pokemons into 3 different categories: lead, safe swap, generals. In the lead, Pokemons usually like to have fast move pressure. Safe swap Pokemon usually just gain too much energy from and also they have a baiting move where they can just stall the clock to switch out later. Generals are the Pokemon that are good everywhere. So the lead situation, we're talking about something like Ho-Oh, Rhyperior, Yveltal, Landorus, Kyogre, White Kyurem, something with like good fast move pressure. But there is a newly added Pokemon because of it got a buff this season, and that Pokemon is Metagross. Metagross got a huge buff. They didn't give it anything. They just buffed Bullet Punch to be the old counter in a new feint attack, a new Sucker Punch, sorry. And it's one of the best counters to the meta right now. If you don't have a Lion, Metagross is as good. So if you're one of those people who have a Shundo Metagross, I think this is the time of the era where you'll be able to use it. Now, Kyogre sits in a weird spot because Kyogre can beat both Zacian and Zamazenta, but it can still get nuked, so don't get me wrong. And it has that spot because you're gonna expect Zacian Zamazenta. Also, you're gonna expect Fire and Ground. And the only Pokemon that can beat all of these, the steals, Zacian Zamazenta, Fire, Ground, is Kyogre. So there is some risk on using Kyogre, but I think it's a justifiable risk. But it's also worth it. Hunting those those Groudons, or the Zacian Zamazentas with Kyogre will be fun. Anything else? Well, pretty much anything that loses to those two is bad. You could try Firefang, Reshiram. You could try Heatran as well. Lion will be probably the best safe swap in the game right now. It's either Lion or the Black Acurum with Shadow Claw are the best safe swap. So if you're looking for a good safe swap, I'm saying it again: Lion, Necrozma Lion, and Black Acurum with Shadow Claw. So now, what are the top picks in the Master League? We have Lion sitting as not the best Pokemon, but the safest Pokemon. What does the safest mean? Mean you can safe swap this Pokemon. That's the safest. That's literally what it means. Like that, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Because anytime you try to build a team about Zacian Zamazenta, you're gonna need a Lion. If you build a Ho-Oh team, you're gonna need a Lion. If you play a Dialga Palkia team, you're gonna need a Lion. So Lion is the core of the meta. So you will see that all of these Pokemons like around here, like sitting as like the main Pokemons, and Lion is in the middle, because Lion is what make these teams safe. Because Lion is so flexible, it has, as you know, you could run it with Iron Head, Outrage, or you could run it with Close Combat. Sorry, with the Foul Play. Dark Pulse, Sunseal Strike. I'm a big fan of, to be honest, I'm a big fan of Iron Head, Outrage now. I think it's the better moveset to run. So yeah, any of these Pokemons you want to use, you go with the Lion. That's the safe swap of choice. Now let's talk about the top teams. The best Pokemon, it's Zacian Crown Sword. And if you are on Zacian Crown Sword, you have two different paths to go with. Number one is Palkia, number two is Black Acurum. Now, why am I gonna lean toward the Palkia a bit more? Because Palkia resists Metal Claw, and Metal Claw is the fast move that both Zacian and Zamazenta have. So there is a good argument about Palkia being the best core breaker beside Lion. It's either, you know. But the thing about Black Acurum, it provides a better charge move spam ability, where like you can spam charge moves like 6, 6, 5. You have Shadow, you have Wild Charge, and Wild Charge is a neutral, but you take super effective from Metal Claw, so you have to be aware of that. I mean, let's be honest, Metal Claw doesn't do that much damage, so you can, you know, do some shenanigans. You can just run Zacian. I mean, with the double Shadow Claw line here, I think that's gonna be pretty much the best team. Except that this team doesn't work. Why? If the opponent is running something like a Groudon, what's your plan? How are you gonna beat that? I don't think you can. So that's why I'm saying Palkia is slightly safer. It can break this trio. I mean, it loses to Zacian eventually. It breaks this trio, and it beats a Groudon, which I expect to be meta. So Groudon is a Pokemon that you should be considering for this rotation. Now, as far as Zamazenta, again, it's literally going to be the same, because there is like 5 strong Pokemons, and those 5 strong Pokemons just like beat each other's. So you're going to see lots of similar teams. So with Zamazenta, you go with Lion and Black Acurum. You could choose to play Meloetta, because Meloetta resists Shadow Claw, and you could, you know, have that as a core breaker of choice. If you are lucky enough to have a good Meloetta IV, I think it makes a good trio it makes a good team with those two. So I don't think Meloetta is as good as Lion, but Meloetta does beat Palkia, because you spam your charge moves harder, and it has a good play into Black Acurum if they are running Shadow Claw. And even if they have Dragon Tail, by the way, you can still like win some shield scenarios as long as you bait once. Now, going back to the previous season team, I tried to adjust them to fit for the current season, but to be honest, I would say that those 2 teams here and those 2 teams here are just going to be the ones that are everywhere. As far as Black Acurum, if you want to run Black Acurum, you have to run Landorus. Why Landorus? Because Landorus does beat Groudon. So if you see a Groudon, at least you have another answer. I mean, Black Acurum into Groudon is not a bad matchup. It's a fine matchup. both can nuke each other. So that's the fun part about it. So Landorus is making a comeback this season. As far as White Kyurem, I think White Kyurem is slightly better now because you have the fusion, sorry, my alarm. You have the fire fusion move to hit for super effective damage against the Zacian and the Zamazenta, and you can go with like better like I think White Kyurem double ground is gonna be a solid team. For the second ground, it could be Groudon as well, so it's up to you. Or you could just go with Lion, because again we agreed that Lion is the best safe swap, and Ho-Oh. With the Ho-Oh lineup, I think you lead Ho-Oh and you have those two in the back. Like, Ho-Oh is always prepared to be in the lead. Rayquaza isn't bad technically, because I'm expecting the Dragon, Black Kyurem to be Dragon Tail, and I'm expecting Palkia to be relevant. And you know what does Rayquaza do? It beats those two. Yeah, Rayquaza does beat Palkia because it has the Breaking Swipe, right? While Palkia has Aqua Tail. You can no shield that. You're not gonna shield an Aqua Tail. Again, you go with Lion or Palkia. You go with Lion or Rhyperior and Ho-Oh. Now, some Kyogre teams that used to be relevant in the past, I think the ABA Waterfall users is kind of good again. Now, this dragon has to change into one of the new ones. You either go with a Black Kyurem here with Shadow Claw, but that will make you just weak to the opposing dragon, to be honest. But I would just run Black Kyurem with a Dragon Tail here. Or you can just go with a safer core, which is Palkia and Lion. As far as Landorus, I think the old Landorus teams are still viable, because Landorus is gonna act as the anti Zacian Zamazenta, and you just like use these old teams. Now, I remember like Jeff once sent me a team using Meloetta with double Zacians, and someone else sent me Meloetta with Palkia and White Kyurem. Now, one of those two dogs has to be upgraded. So if those two dogs either gets upgraded, I think you will get yourself one of the best teams in Master League. Any Zacian team, as an example, this team that was sent to me once by K-God, you're just gonna upgrade the Zacian and you keep everything as before. If you are using Zamazenta, you can upgrade the Zamazenta as keep everything as before. And that's pretty much it for today. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you for making it until here. If you like the content, don't forget to like the video. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.